Hello and welcome to Voicebites from Damn Good Voices. Today I'm joined by actor and voiceover artist Greg Jones. Hey, Greg.
Hey, mate, you all right?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. How are you doing?
I'm all right, yeah, can't complain. It's just a bit rainy, but other than that, we're all good.
Yeah, it's all right. You got the memo then about our outfits?
No, the chances of that, actually, we're colour coordinating today, yeah.
It's great. It's keeping on theme, on trend. I might in future make sure all my guests are wearing the same thing that I am.
If, everybody, if everybody's just in a black and white baseball tee, that would be perfect.
It's the Damn Good Voices uniform.
There you go, you see. You've gone short sleeve, I'm in long today.
Yeah, I've gone for some air because I need to keep aired. Anyway, this is not what this episode is about. So I'll crack straight on with it. I just want to ask you about your journey. This is going to be a bit of a longer voice bite because I know that you've won the Carleton Hobbs Award, and I want to hear all about this journey because I never did a traditional 3 years at drama school and I've heard a lot about it. So I was just wondering, can you tell me a bit about your journey into the acting industry and how it led to you winning the Carleton Hobbs Award, as well as what that even is? Explain to us what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me take you back. In my third year of uni, Simon from Crying Out Loud came in to come and do our voice reels with us. And so while we were doing the voice reels, it was something where I've always loved creating voices for characters, and you know the usual spiel of walking around your house and just randomly talking about things. Anybody else would think you're crazy, but it's just good fun, isn't it? So when I was creating the voice reels, it sort of heightened my love for doing voiceovers. And maybe about February time of 2019, I got an email saying that I've been put forward for the Carleton Hobbs Bursary. And at the time I was like, it's the BBC voiceover competition. So I was just kind of like absolutely like mesmerized to even be entered for it. So for those at home that don't know, so the BBC Carleton Hobbs Bursary Award is a voiceover competition hosted down at the Broadcasting House in London. And for it, you take a selection of monologues and scenes that you work on with a partner. And it's just a voiceover competition. And 4 people from every year in drama school, from all drama schools across the country, go down and compete. And then you basically either get a call a day or 2 later saying that you've won, or you don't, or you find out that you're a runner-up. But basically what it does is if you win, you get offered a 5-month contract working on the BBC radio drama rep company, which is just, it's mind-blowing.
That must be, did you have a feeling of like security when that happens? Because I know from people that have been to drama school that the third year is terrifying because you're like, what if I don't book any jobs? What if I'm out of work? And so for you to win that and then get 5 months of guaranteed work, that must be amazing.
It was absolutely amazing. It was certainly a relief. Because, after 3 years of really hard work, you'd like to hope that you go and leave into something. But to go and leave, and it's kind of like an absolute dream job. It was just surreal, and it was just the most life-changing experience, honestly.
And just to go back a little bit more as well, was this something that, I know you've always walked around your house doing all these voices, you clearly enjoy using your voice and acting, that side of it as well, but was voiceovers anything you actually considered, or was it something you were like, I know it that is a branch of acting work, but I'm just focused on acting, and then it happened? Or was it a plan that you were like, I love voiceovers, I want to do that?
I say really doing actual voice work's probably really been the dream. So, from growing up watching Disney and all sorts of animated feature film companies, it was always really the dream to go and voice a character in one of these big movies where you just get to absolutely go mad with your voice. And I think, what better job is that in the acting world, where you just literally get to go and play one of these characters that you've grown up watching? It's always been something that I dreamt of doing. So getting to do voice jobs for a living, it's just, you can't ask for anything better, can you?
No, definitely. So how was it when you first turned up for your first day of work, and what did that look like?
Right. It was kind of daunting, because you're like, this is the BBC. And it's like, you're going into one of the big leagues, and there's so many names that have been doing it for years or have been working on the West End or big theatre tours. And it's just kind of slightly daunting knowing that this is your first job outside of training, and yet there's people that have been doing this for so long, and it's so many people set the bar really high that you just want to strive to kind of get up to where they are. But when I started, we were kind of like, had an induction week where we would go over sort of mic techniques in the studio, and we'd have like a Shakespeare workshop, or we'd have sessions where we'd listen to actual radio dramas that have been done in the past, and we can kind of gauge the sort of things we'd be doing. It was a really nice way actually to kind of relax us into that experience, because with it being so daunting, just kind of being eased in ever so gently and then being told, right, on your second week, you'll then start actually doing radio dramas. So it was fairly easy to get settled in, which and they did. Everybody there made us feel so welcome, and it was so warm and open. And the thing that I came to learn is that radio is such a for a medium that is such a fast turnaround. It's the most relaxing atmosphere ever.
Oh wow! In what way?
I'd say probably just for the fact that, like, if let's just say if you were to sort of stumble over your words, they just press stop and they go, "Don't worry, just take a breath, come back to it, go back in at your own pace," instead of like the cut. No,
Yeah, that's so true. And I suppose you're not thinking about what you look like, which as an actor, you shouldn't be worried about that anyway. But naturally, your vanity does get in the way sometimes. Whereas at least with voiceovers, you're not even considering that because it doesn't matter.
No, exactly. And that's the beauty of doing voice jobs, is that you can literally be in the most contorted position in a studio, but so long as that sound comes out just right, it's perfect. So like you'd be playing. Say for example, I was playing like a butler in this house, and I donned him with a Welsh accent, and I had him sort of going around like this, and you feel yourself whole, like twisted and contorted, and on like a set they might say, "That not really working for camera," but for radio it's great because you can literally form your face to be any way you want. That kind of thing. It was just great. And it really does kind of relax you and lets you play more and open up, as opposed to kind of being worried about what the camera would pick up.
So in those 5 months in that contract, what sort of work do you do?
So it's several things. So with us actually being on the radio drama rep, we're kind of like a group of in-house voices. So predominantly most of the time we will be actually going in and recording radio dramas. So the best way, so like if there's folks at home that have maybe not listened to a radio drama, you have to essentially think of it as like you're sitting down to listen to a play, and it will be in a vast studio that is surrounded by tables covered in props. So like old phones or fax machines. And one thing that I thought was one of the coolest things, I'm going to slightly veer off, was that there would be entire doors like built onto frames that have got wheels. So it would just be this movable door on wheels. And so they position a mic in the middle of the room, and they put a door kind of like a few feet away from it. And that's how they'd get the sound of maybe quite a small room. So they'd have you walking through this door that's just in the middle of this huge studio, and then going straight up to your scene partner that's next to the mic. And it's so surreal because it's doing a play that people can just listen to. But you as the actor, you're still moving around the studio just as if it was a stage. But the thing with radio drama, just like when you're doing a voice gig, is you always have to make sure that your voice is pointed towards the mic. So your scene partner could be over there, but you always have to kind of point. You're like, "Darling, where are you going?"
That must be so strange, especially coming from like training at drama schools. Obviously, is predominantly aimed at acting, and they sort of glaze over voiceover work. So it must be really strange, like this halfway house between. It's kind of like a play, but also not, because I'm prioritizing the microphone.
Yeah, exactly. It is. And it's really odd to get used to that medium. And that's why I'm so glad that in our first week, they did give us a bit of a rundown on how to do it. Because I think if they'd have just dived in like, "There you go," it would be a bit like, "Whoa." and you'd be constantly pointing over there, and they'd be like, "Greg, can you face the mic, please?" Oh, sorry. It was quite surreal to get used to that transition, but certainly after a few takes, you definitely get used to that medium a lot more. To finish the question you actually asked, if you weren't doing radio dramas, sometime you would be asked to go and help with the World Services. So it would potentially be doing a bit of ADR or maybe a voiceover, or sometimes it would be helping book at bedtime. So you might go and like read a chapter or two from one of the books that they're going to be putting onto BBC Sounds. And really, you were just an in-house voice. So anybody that needed a voiceover like that, you're kind of like on call all the time. So it was exciting to kind of like be at the ready 24/7. Which is really, really exciting. It always keeps you on your toes because you never quite know what you're going to be doing from one day to the next.
Well, it keeps it interesting, doesn't it? So what have you done since then? Since finishing, what have you been up to? Are you sort of sticking with radio drama? Are you now like, oh, I would like to give something else a go, maybe on TV or theatre or something like that? Or are you open to anything?
I will, to be honest, I'm open to anything at all that's going to keep those creative juices going. I mean, I love voice work. It's been my calling since I was really, really young. But I mean, I'll never say no to film and TV. It'd be great. But yeah, I mean, getting to do more radio dramas would be fantastic because it was just such a great experience. It really was. And you meet so many wonderful writers and you get to work alongside like huge names like Bill Nye was one, and Sir Kenneth Branagh, Jessica Raine, Marcia Warren. It was the most amazing experience.
Yeah, that sounds incredible. What would your advice be to people? Because I'm sure there'll be lots of drama school students watching this and maybe they haven't heard about Carleton Hobbs, or maybe they have. Like, what would your advice be if they wanted to have a real shot at winning it?
I'd say for anybody at all in drama school that has a chance to go for the Carleton Hobbs Bursary Award, absolutely try and get your name in to do it, because it's great to leave training instantly into a job where like there's only 4 people from every school that ever get to compete, and then there's 5 places normally that join what's known as the Sound Start, which is a group from drama schools that have been put together. And then also, I've got to mention it, the Norman Beaton Fellowship. And this is a voiceover competition very similar to Carleton Hobbs, but it's, if you haven't gone to drama school or had that formal training, it's a voiceover competition that the BBC hosts that's open to anybody. So there were 3 people from Norman Beaton that joined the 5 of us from Carleton Hobbs that formed an 8 member group called the Sound Start group. And then we, together with a few outside actors that haven't come through one of these bursaries or competitions, then form the Radio Drama Rep Company. So it's really nice that, you know, that those that haven't had that formal training still get to have that equal opportunity to join this amazing company.
I mean, I was going to say, shame I can't take part because I haven't had that formal training, but now I know.
You can, mate. You can. That's the thing. But yeah, so I'd say for anybody, Carleton Hobbs or Norman Beaton, the best thing to do is go with your gut instinct. And it's the same with most voice jobs and the same with radio drama, is that because it's such a fast turnaround, the best advice I can give is literally just go with what your gut's telling you. As we know with voice jobs and especially with radio drama, you don't have the luxury of weeks to prep. Sometimes you might literally get the script for a radio drama a few days before, if not a week, or maybe even like the night before. Well, sometimes you can be in the studio and the producer comes in and says to you, "Hi, so we have this character and we want to give you a line or 2. And you just literally got to come up with something on the spot like that. So I'd say going with your gut instinct and what feels right for you is good. And maybe going with an idea that's a bit bigger than what you would normally do, because it's always easier for the producer or the sound engineer to rein you back in, as opposed to being like, could we just make that a bit bigger and a bit better? So I'd say that's my advice. And also just enjoy it as well, because it's the most wonderful experience. And we were told during our time on the rep that those that don't necessarily win the competition will come back So they remember everybody that goes and competes. So even if you're not one of the winners or one of the runners up, you still, in their books, you still made it into the competition, and you were chosen out of your whole year to be one of those people that represents the school, which is amazing.
Oh, it's never a waste being seen by these people.
No, absolutely not. And because like I feel so blessed, because I went to Liverpool Institute of Performing Arts, represent, and I was really lucky because I was their first ever winner. And now I hope that whenever Lipper goes and sends down people to compete, they're always like, see, we got a winner from here. Who's going to be the next one? That's the hope, really.
Well, you're the trailblazer for the school, so hopefully that will keep happening.
Fingers crossed, mate, because it's the very, very talented people that walk through those doors. So I'm hoping that there's many more winners from Lipper, because they deserve to be.
Oh, absolutely. I know, it's a great school. Also, I couldn't not ask this question. Do you also have to do the sound effects, like the boot on the gravel and things? Do you have to do both at the same time, or is that a myth?
No, this was the great thing, is that there would be an engineer that would come in and would actually create those sound effects. So I don't know if I can spill the beans on this. I don't know if it's allowed. Maybe one thing, but it would be like if you wanted the sound of like gravel, you'd throw a bit of salt on a bit of concrete and then walk on that, and it has that crunchy kind of. I don't know whether I can give away too much. I think,
Well, that's a good enough exclusive for Voicebites. So don't worry, I don't want to get you in trouble. So what have you been doing to keep yourself busy then? So during this time, we've all had a lot of time on our hands. So what have you been getting up to?
So I've been recording a podcast series called The Acting Hive, and it's available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And I've been interviewing a few people and asking for tips and tricks on getting into the acting world. So it's really about starting in the business. And then me and my friends have been doing another podcast called The Chap Room, where it's three of us guys have been chatting about all sorts of random things, but it just normally ensues into absolute hilarity. And again, available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. I mean, I love doing impressions now, but I've been doing them since I was really, really young. And there was one day where I just wanted to record a video to be able to put on Instagram. And so I downloaded TikTok, which, has taken over so many lives over recent times. And I recorded one on there of Boris Johnson and Donald Trump being roommates together. And it just kind of blew up. And ever since then, I've been running this series. And now I'm kind of trying to interject a few other impressions here, there into the main series. But yeah, people are loving Boris and Donald.
It's great. I've seen you on TikTok as well. You've come up on my For You page all the time. It's so good. It's really... Are you able to give us one or the other right now, or is that putting too much pressure on you?
Excuse me. So we are doing a fantastic thing here. So listen, Joel, was it Joel?
Yeah, that's me.
So, John, we are doing a tremendous thing here on this podcast today. We're talking about fantastic things. I know probably some of the greatest people that you've ever interviewed, and it's quite possibly.
Yes, and then people seem to love Boris. I'm sorry, I got distracted because I saw a dog going past the window. Yes. So listen, it's fantastic to do this sort of thing. I often come on these sort of things.
That kind of thing. There
So
you go.
good. That's brilliant. It sounds like you've created so much different outlets for yourself and work for yourself now.
Yeah, it's just trying to keep myself busy, really. And just trying to keep it all those muscles flexed, really.
No, definitely. And that's the amazing thing about these platforms. Like, some people sort of look down on it a bit in certain ways. I certainly get that with YouTube, but actually, like, it opens so many doors, and it's a great experience to, like you say, flex your skills and put them out there.
Yeah, because I've watched a fair amount of your videos, and God, you've got such a huge following, which is amazing for you guys, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's good. It's definitely, as I said, yeah, it's opened doors for us, and we're getting more opportunities now than we would, or some of our friends because I did a year at drama school, I did a foundation course, then lots of our friends that did that course. So I'm like, actually, at first it was frowned upon, and my drama school was like, what on earth are you doing? And now it's sort of, they're like, can you come back and speak to people?
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is, you have an instant audience that can access your material like that. So, you don't have to do the usual thing of trailing around websites trying to find a show reel or searching for people on Spotlight. They can literally type your name in on YouTube, bang, there you are, and they get instant stuff, and they can see the kind of audience that you're reaching. What's not to like about that? It's great.
And the same with you with your podcast and now TikTok as well. Well, thank you guys as well for watching Voicebites. You've been watching the brilliant Greg Jones. Go check out his voice profile. It'll be linked down below, and also his podcast will be down there. Maybe we'll chuck his TikTok in there as well. So go check that out, and we'll speak to you soon. Bye. Bye, Greg.
Bye. Cheers, mate. Bye, guys.